20 years ago, Canadian businessman Brian Clark was working on the 84th floor of the World Trade Center's South Tower when two planes struck the Twin Towers. The terrorist attack killed more than 2,600 people in New York City. And while most of us remember exactly where we were when it happened, few people have the recollection that he has. He is one of only 18 people in his building to escape from a floor where the plane struck. And Brian Clark joins us now from Mahwah, New Jersey. Brian, it's so good to meet you, and I'm really grateful that you've agreed to sort of relive the awful events of 20 years ago with us tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I was given a gift that I can tell my story. I have not been haunted by it, so I appreciate your sincerity and your gentleness there, but I'm okay, thank you.
Glad to hear it. I wonder if you could take us back to 9/11/01 and tell us whether the day started for you just like any other.
It was a blue sky, normal day. You know, my commute took about an hour and 20 minutes to, an hour and 10 minutes to get to the World Trade Center. I would arrive at about 7:20, but it was a normal commute. Nobody expecting anything that happened eventually.
A normal commute to what job that you were doing at the time?
I worked for a company called Eurobrokers. It was actually a company started in Toronto in 1970. I joined in late 72, and in the middle of 74, July 74, the entire company moved to New York City and relocated to the World Trade Center. So that's where I was headed.
When the first plane hit the North Tower, the one beside you, not the one you were in, what were you able to see and hear at that moment before 9 a.m. Eastern Time?
I was sitting in my personal office on the west side of the South Tower and typing away at my keyboard, and at 8:46 there was this loud double boom, and I didn't know what it was, but at that instant the lights above me flickered. I reacted like wondering what that was, and my peripheral vision behind me caught something against the window, and I spun right around, and against the windows, 84 floors in the air, were flames just swirling away. It was a sight that you don't expect to see, 84 floors in the air. And that was the first plane hitting next door. The first tower got hit about the 93rd floor, and the flames just washed through the building and washed past my window.
Did you have any idea what it was?
I didn't at the time. I incorrectly actually thought that there was perhaps a construction worker, a welder had hit a gas line, maybe on the 85th or 86th floor, and the explosion had spilled out the building.
Now, 17 minutes later, the second plane hits, and that's the one that hits your building, partially on your floor, South Tower. My goodness, look at that picture. I haven't seen that picture in 20 years. This is, for those who can't see it and who are listening on podcast, one tower has been hit, and there's the plane about to hit. We're now looking at an image of the second plane having hit the second tower, the tower that you are in, and the massive fireball emanating from that second tower. At that moment, what are you thinking?
I was talking to a coworker. Fortunately, just at randomness, I was on the west side of our building, and I said, what have you heard going on? And my coworker, Bobby Call, said to me, well, I was down a few flights. I heard the announcement that our building was secure, so I came back up the stairs, and he was telling me just that mini story when boom, boom, louder this time, when our building got hit on the south side, and I was up fairly near the northwest corner and somewhat protected, fortunately. But in an instant, our room fell apart and the building swayed, and I was afraid for 10 seconds while it swayed toward the Hudson River and then back to vertical. When it came back to vertical, this feeling washed over me that we're going to be okay.
You actually
I did know in an instant that it was terrorism. I mean, having seen what had happened next door and now what was happened in our building, it was obvious.
So you knew instantly it was an airplane hitting?
I didn't know it was an airplane, but I knew it was terrorism of some sort.
Now, this isn't the first time the Twin Towers have been hit, right? There was the bomb that went off in the basement in 1993. Were you there then as well?
Yes, I was. Our offices at that time were on the 31st floor. in the North Tower, as luck would have it. And we moved after that bombing. We moved to the 84th floor of the South Tower back in February, March of 1993.
And you were mentioning you felt the building sway. I mean, did you actually think it was going to fall over?
For 5 seconds, I did have that feeling cross my mind. And this sounds maybe rather silly, but I recall this is what I felt at the moment. I felt like I needed to grab onto something as the building was going to fall over, which is a silly thing to think. But in that split second when the room fell apart and things were chaotic, that was the thought that crossed my mind. But as I said, it stopped after 5 seconds and came back to vertical. It was just a half oscillation and then back to vertical.
Now, Brian, I wonder if after the first plane hit, did people turn their television sets on and therefore have some sense about what was going on?
We were a brokerage operation with lots of trading, lots of television sets all over the trading floor. And immediately all of those TV sets went from financial information to news, if you like. And we were watching the same thing on our TV sets that anybody in Ontario or Singapore or Sweden, were watching. All the telephoto long shot lenses from Midtown down to the financial district in the south tip of Manhattan.
Now, whatever happened to you that day is just something that is incomprehensible. People just don't think that's going to happen to them when they go to work in the morning. How long did it take you to sort of figure out what actually was going on?
I led a group of people down the stairs from 84, and we only got down to the 81st floor. There's about 6 or 7 people behind me, if you like. I happened to have a flashlight with me that I had been trained as a volunteer fire marshal on our floor after the 93 bombing, and they had given us flashlights. I put that in my pocket when the first plane hit, not knowing if I would need it or not. Fortunately, I had it with me. So as we went down just these 3 floors, we got stopped by a woman coming up the stairs. And she said, "You can't go any lower. We've come off a floor in flames." She was talking about a coworker of hers that was coming up the stairs with her. And we got into a bit of a debate. And the argument was, should we go higher, should we go lower? And in the midst of this debate or discussion, I heard a banging noise inside the 81st floor. And I grabbed the shoulder of the person beside me, coincidentally another Canadian, Ron DiFrancesco, a coworker. And Ron and I went in to find this person who was crying for help on the 81st floor. Very sadly, however, as I slipped through the crack in the wall to get onto the 81st floor, I could see all my friends turning around and going up the stairs, and they all died that day. It was that memory is not a good one for me, obviously. But we went on to find the stranger's voice. Ron was completely overcome with smoke right beside me. Very strange. And I was breathing normally. I can't explain that, nor in hindsight can Ron. I mean, we've talked since. Fortunately, he went down and survived the day. But I carried on and found this stranger in the rubble, dug him out. He and I went back to the stairs. I shone my light down the stairs. I didn't see the flames that the lady had talked about. So I just knew I had to test it. And my new best friend, Stanley, who was the stranger that I'd never met before, he and I started down the stairs. And after, almost an hour, it was about 5 minutes to 10 when we got out of the building. We got about 2 blocks south of the towers, turned around and watched the South Tower collapse.
All right, I want to go back a little before that, before we talk about that. Stanley.
Yeah.
Okay, when you found Stanley and you rescued him and he realized he had a chance to make it, what did he do?
Well, he was actually stuck behind a wall, an immovable wall, but he punched a hole in it down near the floor level, and he had his arm out through the hole, waving frantically. As I approached him, he said, with my flashlight, and I shone the light up his arm and into his eyes, "Hallelujah, I've been saved." He said, "One thing I've got to know, do you know Jesus Christ?" And I wasn't ready for a theological discussion at that point, and I stammered out a rather weak, "I go to church every Sunday." That was the best I could do at that moment. We worked hard to get rid of debris my side, debris where he was, and I stood a desk up on its end, climbed up and looked over the wall down into the pit where he was. And I said, "The only way out of there is for you to come up this wall." and he jumped. I missed him the first time. The second time he jumped, I grabbed under his arm or something, heaved him up over the wall, and the weight of him coming onto my body, the desk tipped over. We fell on my back. He gave me a great big kiss, and he said, "We'll be brothers for life." I said, "Well, I don't have any siblings." I said, "Okay, we can be brothers." And I noticed that I had a puncture wound on my right palm. Stanley had a puncture wound on one of his palms, and I pushed them together. And I said, "In fact, we'll be blood brothers." So Stanley Premnath and I are blood brothers to this day.
Isn't that something? Are you still in touch?
Stanley, one of us calls the other every month or so. We get asked to do interviews together, when we get up to times like this, these anniversaries. Stanley has come to my church to speak. I've spoken at his church. We've each gone to one of our daughter's weddings. So yeah, we're good friends. We stay in touch. The difficulty is we both live opposite sides of Manhattan. So it's about a 2-hour drive from my house to his house, which makes it a little less easy to socialize. But on occasion we do.
Wonderful. Now, I'll ask you to pick up the story where we left off a moment ago, which is to say you did get out of the building, you did get some blocks away, and then you saw it collapse. Tell us about that moment.
We got about 2 blocks south of the Trade Center and got on the south side of Trinity Church, which is at the intersection of Wall Street and Broadway. And Stanley turned more than 90 degrees around, and he looked back at the World Trade Center site. And from that angle, the South Tower that we had come out of blocked the view of the North Tower. So we could only see the tower that we had come out of. And he said, "I think that tower could come down." And I said, "There's no way. That's a steel structure. That's just furniture and carpets and drapes burning." And as I said that, from the top, we saw this little wiggle back and forth, and then boom, 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 floor by floor, it pancaked down. Took about 8 to 10 seconds for the whole building to dissolve. Trinity Church acted like a seawall, a wave slamming into a seawall, because that white cloud that came out, debris out of the Trade Center when it collapsed, it slammed into Trinity Church and exploded outward. And so he and I were now in this great big air bubble. We realized it was going to crash down on us. We ran up to Broadway, maybe 20 yards, and then ran down Broadway. And as the wave rolled up behind us, at random, we went into a building I'd never been in before, 42 Broadway. And there we were while that wave washed by us. It got very dark outside, but he and I talked for 45 minutes. At 10:30, after 30 minutes of discussion, the North Tower came down, but we didn't know that at the time.
Now, let me just make sure I've got this right. Did that church, in acting like a seawall or a buffer between you and the collapsing structures, did it prevent you, therefore, from ingesting a lot of the asbestos and other stuff that ended up killing so many people after the fact from cancer?
I believe that's true, although, the fullness of time will tell. I don't remember breathing deeply anything that I didn't really like, other than when our building got hit, our room was instantly filled with lots of construction dust, not black smoke, not flames, just as if somebody took a bag of cement and waved it in the air. It was sort of this gritty, you wanted to spit it out, tough to breathe. But I don't believe that I inhaled any of that asbestos-laden stuff. I don't know. Like I say, time will tell. But at the moment, I feel healthy. Thank you.
Good to hear that. We're going to put a picture up here of just the kind of thing I was discussing. I mean, here's a trio walking through the streets, again, covered in the remnants of the building. And do you know any of these people, or do you recognize this scene?
I'm familiar with that type of scene. That's when Stanley and I went out of the backside of 42 Broadway. It was right behind the New York Stock Exchange, and we walked onto Broad Street, and it was like a winter's day. There was litter everywhere, and this, 2 inches of snow on the roads, on parking meters, on mailboxes, on whatever, abandoned cars and so on. But it wasn't crowded. It was like some of those pictures you just showed. It wasn't densely populated. This was real aftermath stuff. And we walked down Broad Street toward the East River.
Brian, were you at any point up until that moment able to call family members and tell them where things were at with your own circumstances.
The one call I made from the building before I got out was coincidentally, as I mentioned earlier, we were on the 31st floor of the North Tower in 93. From the 31st floor of the South Tower, we got into Oppenheimer's space, and I called my wife at home at about 9:35, so half an hour after our building had been hit. And our house had filled up with some neighbors, some people from our church. 3 of my 4 children had come from wherever they were working, and were being supportive of my wife at home. And I told my wife, I'm on the 31st floor. I've got a good story to tell you. I'm okay. We're getting out of the building, that sort of thing. And put down the phone because Stanley wanted to use it to call his wife and so on. So my wife turned around and told this house full of 25, 30 people, Brian's okay. He's got a great story to tell. He'll be out of the building in 2 hours. But the problem with that was I didn't say that. But it had taken 2 hours to get out of the building in 1993 because the stairways were filled with people on that occasion. When Stanley and I were descending, there was nobody in the stairway. So we had a free shot. We got out of the building in 25 minutes. But my wife was telling everybody I'd be out in 2 hours. So when the building did collapse, everybody in my house thought I was a goner.
Oh, my goodness. At what point did you actually get home to be able to confirm to everybody that you'd made it?
Well, the first confirmation that after the buildings collapsed that I could tell everybody, I caught a ferry over to Jersey City, and in the ticket office, I used the ticket seller's phone, called home at about 11:15. So I had been dead for an hour and 15 minutes as far as they were concerned. And I called, got through, no busy signal, which statistically I certainly could have had. The phone was ringing off the hook that day. And my wife came on the phone, and I said, I was oblivious to the pain they were going through at home because I hadn't said 2 hours. She collapsed on the floor. I really didn't talk to her, but I told somebody else in our house that I'd be walking up to Hoboken to get a train, which I did, and I pulled in the driveway at 1:15 in the afternoon with a horn blaring, and a big love fest happened on the front lawn.
Sweet. Brian, this is going to be a bit of an odd question, so hang in there with me here. Obviously, thousands of people lost their lives that day. Others who survived suffered terrible PTSD or survivor's guilt or that kind of thing. You don't seem to have been affected that way. Do you know why?
I don't know why. I accept it as a gift. I can't explain it. I take no credit for it. I realize how fortunate I am, but I hope everyone knows how grateful I am as well. That I haven't had one nightmare. My head hits the pillow at night. I fall asleep. I can't explain it, but I'm, as I say, very, very grateful because I know it's agony for many other people still after 20 years.
Who do you find yourself thinking about on this anniversary?
Well, Stanley, certainly. I mean, my blood brother and I are close on this, but our company lost 61 people out of the 250 employees that were on the 84th floor. And many of them have different stories. Some of them reached the ground and then were killed doing good deeds. So there's many stories, and everybody has a story that's valid wherever they were. But the one person, in addition to Stanley, that I think of most often is a fellow named Jose Marrero, because as Stanley and I descended on the 68th floor, coming up the stairs was Jose Marrero, a co-worker, carrying a walkie-talkie, talking to some of my co-workers up above. And I said, Jose, where are you going? What are you doing? He said, I'm going up to help Dave Vera in particular. He's on the walkie-talkie. He's helping people. I'm going up to help him. And I gave rather a weak excuse, perhaps. I said, well, I'm getting this fellow from Fuji Bank out. I didn't really know Stanley very well, other than he's now my brother, my blood brother. But I said, I'm getting this fellow from Fuji Bank out. He said, oh, I'll be okay. And up he went. And of course, that day, Jose, doing good deeds, died.
Ugh. You know, I guess there's a continuum of experience on this thing. At the one end, some people have said, I survived because God was with me. And there are others at the other end of the continuum who say it was just plumb luck and there's really no rhyme or reason why I'm still here and so many others are not. Where are you on that continuum?
I'll say I've got a bit of both because, you know, selfishly, egotistically, one likes to think one's in control. But if you're a believer, you know someone else is in control. And at moments during that day, I think I'm taking credit for making the left turn or the decision to do so and so. But I will also tell you, throughout that day, there were some very strange things going on that are inexplicable. When Ron was overcome with smoke, around my head was this bubble of fresh air. It was noticeable. There's something strange about that. So I will accept the fact that the Lord was with me that day and guided me out. I'll say that was true.
Can I assume you've said the odd prayer or two since that day?
Yes, all with gratitude, thankfulness. Yes.
Well, I'm so sorry that it was the circumstances of 20 years ago that are the reason why you and I are talking today. But I will add to that, I'm awfully glad to meet you, and I'm very glad you survived it all. And we're delighted that you spent so much time with us on TVO tonight, sharing your memories of that day. Thank you, Brian.
Well, coming from Toronto originally, I've got lots of friends in Ontario, so I wave a hello to all of them. Thank you for having me on today.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Brian.
Bye-bye.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is made possible through generous philanthropic contributions from viewers like you. Thank you for supporting TVO's journalism.